Welcome back into Saturday, January 27th in the NBA. My 5 best bets are on the way. Let's recap yesterday, a 2-3 day. Let's talk about it. We had day 1 of the ladder challenge, about as sweaty as it gets. I mean, shout out to Jalen Williams, who clutched up in the 4th, and this man, the Greek freak, who needed 2 rebounds in the last 3 minutes, and he got it done. We certainly would take it. And then we had to sweat Wembanyama too, who was looking sweat-free. And then, of course, we had to sweat into the 4th quarter. We'll take it. Chris Middleton, we appreciate for doing your job. Let's talk about our losses. Blue Dort, just a bad read. I mean, the guy obviously didn't shoot well. I think he went 0 for 3 from 3. Didn't shoot well. And then you had Miles Bridges, who actually shot really well. Only got 11 field goal attempts. And they obviously were blown out, but only 11 shots for a guy that was shooting 18 to 20 times. Weird game. Now, the one loss that really aggravated me was Paul George's over, because if you noticed throughout the day, some injury news came out where he was actually changed to questionable, and then he was active, and they said he was on a minutes restriction. I think he had, 21 points. He hit his over in points because the line dropped to 19.5, but just an agonizing loss there. Nothing we can do there. 2-3 day. Let's dive into the picks, though, today. We got 5 of them today. It is a big slate. I think there's 10 games on, so a lot of action you could force into the games. I feel like there's a lot of sharp lines out there. I found my favorite picks of the day, and we're going to dive into them. One of my favorite ones, though, is for new users on Sleeper. They got Nikola Jokic up for 1 point. It's only for new users. It's a free square if you sign up using our code COS or the link in the description. Like Jokic versus Embiid, that game's going to be a doozy tonight. So obviously, if you want to sign up for a Sleeper, make sure you use our code COS or the link in the description. You get that match up to $500. It's a really good offer. They have matching your first deposit up to $500. You get that Jokic free square. You might also get some NFL free squares, which we'll have some NFL videos posted later on today. So stay tuned for that. What I like for Sunday slate of action, which we only got to probably 4 or 5 NBA games, but obviously we'll have an NBA video tomorrow morning. But let's dive into the picks, though, today. The first one's going to be a guy I don't think I've backed an under for him all year long, and it's my best bet of the day. Victor Wembanyama, under 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists, PRAs, minus 122 on FanDuel. Now, I am well aware that when I post this video, this line is not available, as right now it is 35.5. I played 37.5 for 1.5 units. Personally, I would play the 35.5 for 1 unit. I posted early for our DubClub. As a reminder, get all of our plays early. Sign up for the DubClub. It's less than $6 a month, and you get it all, pinged to your phone. But I really do like this Victor Wembanyama under. Obviously, I took the 37.5, but I really do think 35.5 is still good. I personally wouldn't play lower than that. Now, let's talk about Wembanyama, who obviously is coming into this game, and there is a chance that when you're watching this video, Wemby's not even playing, because he is expected to play his first back-to-back since November 18th. As you know, he kind of twisted his ankle, and they've been taking him off back-to-backs. They haven't really been playing him a ton of minutes, and recently it was noted that his minutes restriction will be a little bit lifted. He'd start to play a little bit more minutes, maybe up to 30. Well, he's coming in here expected to play. Obviously, I can't control if he plays or not. If he doesn't play, then whatever. It's not like we have anything. We'll just get our money back here for the under. But it's a tough match against the T-Wolves team, and they played twice this season. In those 2 games, Victor had 42 PRAs on 57% shooting in 35 minutes, and then 23 PRAs in 32 minutes. So, look, at the end of the day, sure, he went over in one game, under in the other. Now, you look at him, he played 32 in 35 minutes. I don't see a world, obviously, I'm not Greg Popovich, I don't see a world Wemby plays 30 minutes tonight. And would it surprise anyone out there if Wembanyama plays the first half of the game and then they sit him the rest of the game? No, I don't think that would. I mean, Greg Popovich does what he wants. We know that. He's a long-tenured head coach, but it's also a guy that they obviously are not trying to win a championship this year, heck, even win games, and they're just trying to monitor his minutes and make sure he's healthy, not only for this year, but for the next decade. So I don't know if Wemby plays a ton of minutes tonight, and if he's super efficient, sure, but this is just not a good matchup for him. The last 15 games, Timberwolves, 3rd fewest points per game and 3rd fewest rebounds per game to centers. He's going to get Rudy Gobert on him probably. Obviously, him and Rudy Gobert have history, both from France. They both have played with each other a ton, so maybe he has a little bit more of a repertoire against stopping him. But same time, Rudy Gobert, really good defender. Maybe he can't move his feet like the best big man in the world, but I still do think he's going to force him to knock down jump shots. It's going to be hard to score in the paint. Also, don't see him getting a ton of rebounds because Gobert's going to come in and set a ton of screens. Obviously, Wemby, we know he can go out there and he could hit the over. I'm not saying Wembanyama is going to absolutely put up a dud. I think there's just so many different ways where he can go under in this one, whereas the only way he really goes over if he shoots really efficiently, and even if he shoots really efficiently, he's still going to need to grab a lot of rebounds and get some assists there too. I mean, heck, if he scores 25, 30 points, still a way he could go under, because this is not a good matchup for rebounds for opposing centers, and assists is about 50-50. So I'll fade Wemby for 1.5 units. I'll take his under 37.5 PRAs. It's my best bet of the day. I would only play it for 1 unit, which would be around. I would only play for 1 unit at 35.5 though. Now let's move on to my second pick. And I've noticed, in order to climb the ladder, and obviously we're going to be on day 2, that'll be live later on today. It'll be linked in the pinned comment. We have to make amends. Some people have heard us before, and one of the guys that we need to make amends with, and I think that is important to climbing the ladder. And I imagine if I made this just a straight bet of the day. Harrison Barnes. He is the guy we need to make amends with. And I'm taking his over 11.5 points at plus 102. And I'm also sprinkling a quarter unit on his 15 plus points at plus 240, both on FanDuel. Now, obviously, Harrison Barnes is known in this community not for the great reasons, as he nuked, I believe, day 6 of the ladder challenge. He had 8 points going into the fourth quarter. He did not shoot the whole fourth. He stood in the corner, twiddled his thumbs, and then we were like, all right, we're screwed. Went to overtime. Still didn't shoot. That is how he nuked it, and that's how a lot of people hate him, and I understand why. Now, obviously, if we look at Harrison Barnes, why we're backing him today, there's a couple different reasons why. I do want to note, though, on FanDuel, it's the only book that had a line for HB. Maybe other books will drop lines for him. I just don't know why they're holding them back. Now, in the last 2 games, if you bet on Harrison Barnes under, he's absolutely wrecked you. But if you bet on his over, congrats, because the last 2 games, 32 and 39 points on 20 and 24 field goal attempts, attempting 8 and 4 free throws as well. Now, obviously, that's an anomaly. Harrison Barnes is not a 30-point per game scorer. But we're not asking him to score 30 today. We're asking him to score 15. And you look at Barnes on the season. Has he been good? No. I'm not coming out here and saying it's been good. Now, last year was pretty solid, pretty consistent. But Barnes this season has scored 12 points. You're going over this line in 20 of 43 games. He scored 15 plus in 11 of 40. And honestly, I think this comes down to the field goal attempts. When Barnes gets 8 or more shots, he's over this line in 17 of 25 games. And when he gets 10 or more shots, he's over this line in 11 of 12 and had 15 plus points in 9 of 12. So, look, obviously, they have De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter. They got Domantas Sabonis. They got a lot of mouths to feed in Sacramento as they're on the road in Dallas. But if you see your teammate who's consistently put up 30 points the last 2 games, that's an anomaly for Harrison Barnes. He doesn't do that normally. But he's done that the last 2 games. Did you just go away from the hot hand? I don't think so. I think you continue to ride it. And, if HB comes out here and bricks his first 5 shots, yeah, he's probably going under. We'll lose 1 1/4 unit. But if he makes his first 3-4 shots, or maybe makes his first shot, misses one, makes his first 3 of his first 5 shots, I think they keep going back to him. And I don't see a way where he doesn't get a lot of field goal attempts today. Obviously, if he goes 0 for 5 in the first 5 shots, probably not getting a ton of looks, but I don't mind the matchup for him. Obviously, we look at Barnes, he's going to return back to Dallas where he did play 2 seasons. So if he's got some motivation there, great. But his last 3 games versus Dallas, 13, 16, and 12 points, going over his regular line, and all 3. He's had 16, 14, 11 field goal attempts, so hasn't really shot too efficiently. Still got the free throw attempts there. Dallas on a back-to-back, so how engaged will they be defensively? I don't know. If they're going to stop one guy, it's probably De'Aaron Fox, who really, despite being good for us in the Warriors game, hasn't been overly that good. And Barnes, there's a very good chance he draws Luka Doncic on defense. I mean, we think about this defense that the Mavs play. They normally try to hide a Luka Doncic, and typically you'd be hiding him on like a guy like Harrison Barnes who just sits in the corner. But Harrison Barnes has been really aggressive, and when he gets those matchups, I think he's going to be aggressive in here. So sure, Harrison Barnes could wreck us. Sure, that wouldn't surprise me if he scored like 6 points today. But there's also a chance that if he makes his first few shots, he's going to keep firing it. I'm just going to ride with the hot hand, and I think the Kings will do just that in the first quarter. And if HB's cooking, he will get 15 points tonight pretty easily. At plus 240, I feel like I have to take it. You give me 11.5 at plus 102, I'll take that too. I'd only play the 11.5 for 1 unit, but the 15 plus at plus 240, I have to do it on FanDuel. Playing Harrison Barnes, we're making amends. Go do your job. Go be aggressive. And if you go 1 for 10 tonight, I won't even be mad. As long as the field goal attempts are there, I will live with this bet. Now, my third play of the day will be a guy that's coming off a terrible game. Him and his team got blown out because of the CJ McCollum who played yesterday, over 17.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, I would play this at 18.5. Before I even dive into this one, I do want to note we did have 6 picks yesterday. One of them was Zion Williamson. Obviously, he did not play. I have no idea if Zion's playing today. I imagine if I had to bet my money, I think Zion plays tonight. Obviously, if Zion does not, this line's definitely going up to probably like 20.5, which is still like CJ there. I like the 17.5 though today. Now, obviously, we look at McCollum this season. He is over this line in 19 of 31 games. And you look at games on which Zion and Brandon Ingram were active in, which I assume is today, he's over in 13 of 24, 54% of the time. If Zion doesn't play, the hit rate's going to go up because a lot more field goal attempts and usage to go around. If Ingram doesn't play, obviously usage goes up because, more usage to go around, and the hit rate's probably going to be better. And like I said, I can't guarantee Zion plays. They obviously rested yesterday with a foot injury. I don't know if he plays, but it doesn't really matter to me. The hit rate is still there, and I really like this matchup for him. You look at CJ's other lines. We look at his over 2.5 3-pointers made. It's about minus 175. So they're pretty confident he makes 3 threes. And this season, when he's played in games with Ingram and Zion active, and he's made 3 or more threes, which he's done in 17 games. He's averaged over 20 points per game, scoring 18 plus going over this line in 12 of 17, including 5 of 7 on the road. Obviously, they're on the road in Milwaukee today. So we see them on the road. Will their role players show up as much? Probably not as likely. And we look at a couple of games where CJ made 3 threes and didn't hit the over. He had like 16, and 17 points. So today, we also know he gets a great matchup against the Bucks. We've talked about it all year long. Take your guards against the Bucks, and we've seen it over the last 15 games. Still rang true. Bucks have allowed the most points per game to point guards, 6th most points per game to shooting guards. They still can't defend guards. That's just what they do. And honestly, if Zion plays, I don't like the matchup for Zion. Assuming Giannis plays on the other side, Giannis is his primary defender, and Brook Lopez is holding down the paint. So not a great matchup for Zion at all. I think they're going to have to play through McCollum and Ingram, and Ingram's been basically a no-show the past few weeks besides a couple games here and there, and really hasn't showed up on the road. And in addition to that, McCollum's coming off a terrible game. He shot 4 for 15, 27%, 2 for 7 from 3, 29%. The last time he shot below 40%, what did he do the next game? 33 points. So we got a couple things going for us. One, McCollum is coming off a terrible game. Very rarely, I can equivalent him to like guys like Devin Booker. Shout out him for scoring 62. Luka scoring 73. Those guys, when they have bad games, very rarely do they have another bad game, just like Jalen Brunson. Number 2, it's a perfect matchup where he gets the Bucks, a team that plays a lot of drop coverage. McCollum will get the open opportunities at the top. He'll have to come down and knock down some shots. And number 3, I haven't even mentioned this. He's playing Damian Lillard, his former running mate. Yeah, he's probably going to wake up and want to play a little bit harder when he sees his teammate on the other side. Obviously, Dame's going to be firing it up. I think this is the game where we see CJ's firing it up too. These guys obviously have not gone head-to-head a ton of times because they haven't really been on opposite teams a ton in their career. The last time they played against each other, McCollum attempted a ton of shots, scored 24 points. So there's a lot of things going for McCollum today. I really like his over 17.5 points. I'd argue he's probably one of my favorite plays of the day. Now, my 4th play of the day will be another guy at 17.5 points. His name is Colin Sexton of the Utah Jazz, over 17.5 points, minus 120 on Bet365. Now, I don't really think this line goes to 18.5. If it does, take a peek at his 22.5 points plus assist line. But I really like this matchup here for Sexton. Now, if we look at Sexton, he's obviously coming off a game where he honestly got benched. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. He got benched, and this line dropped a ton. Now, we look at that last game. Sexton, 17 minutes, scored 11 points on 11 field goal attempts, and he was benched the final 18 minutes of the game. Got benched 6 minutes in the third quarter and did not play in the fourth. Now, there's a couple reasons why, and Will Hardy is known for doing this. So don't be like, oh, Will Hardy, why is he getting benched? No, Will Hardy does that. That is the Utah Jazz head coach. However, a couple reasons why. Number 1, Sexton didn't play very well. Yeah, he had like a plus minus, a +2. Number 2, the bench unit played really well. Jordan Clarkson, Keontae George, Kelly Olynyk, those guys had a plus minus, a +13. They were playing really well. So you look at all these things combined, sure, Sexton's probably not going to play a ton of minutes when your bench guys are playing well, and already he doesn't have, a very high floor for minutes. But let's say Sexton comes out here and plays pretty well off the jump. I think he'll get a lot of minutes here. And we've seen over the last 25 games, Sexton, 21.7 points per game over this line in 20 of 25 games, and he's averaged 26.9 minutes per game, and he hasn't had back-to-back games with less than 20 minutes during that time span. Sexton has had plenty of games where he plays 20-ish minutes, 20 to 23 minutes, and he still goes over this line. Very efficient score. Also, he's had some games, where he'll get the 17, 18 minutes. It's going to be tough to get it done, but he's also had games where he plays 30 or more minutes. So I think this line was an overreaction. Obviously, his line last game was 22.5. That's a tad too high for him. But I think they came back to the 17.5, 18.5, which is where he was in this stretch of 25 games when he's been playing, 20 to 30 minutes, not playing 35, 40 minutes like a normal, full-blown starter, but still playing a lot of minutes here. And honestly, this is a great matchup against the Hornets, a team that can't stop anyone. So I really do think Sexton coming in here, coming off a game he got benched. You don't love that. Obviously, I didn't even mention in that game he got benched. They were up by 20 going into the fourth quarter, largely due to the bench playing really well. So you saw Will Hardy just running the hot hand. Obviously, if Sexton comes out here, plays pretty well in the first, probably a good chance he plays a few more minutes in the second quarter, plays a lot in the third, and I think he could easily get this done in 3 quarters, not even need to play in the fourth. So, look, I'll roll with Sexton. I think this line is a little bit of an overreaction. I personally think Sexton's line every night, assuming his role stays about the same as the last 25 games, should be roughly 18.5 or 19.5. So 17.5 discount, I'll take it as my 4th pick of the day. And then my 5th and final play of the day, no added plays today. I certainly could probably pick like 12 picks today, but I'll just stay to 5. It's day 2 of the ladder challenge. It will probably include a plays, maybe that I've already talked about today, or maybe include some other things that I did consider. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll be live in a little bit. I won't have any added plays. Day 2 of the ladder will be tracked for 1 unit as always, and hopefully we can have a 5-0 day. We certainly are due one of those sweeps. We had one last Friday. Hopefully we can have one this Saturday, and hopefully absolutely dominate. But like I said, if you want to sign up for that free square on Sleeper. Use our sign-up code, use code COS or the link in the description. They'll match your first deposit up to $500. We'll have some NFL videos live later on today, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to go check out our Bucks video where we went to a Bucks game, which is where I bought this shirt jersey, certainly do that. It also was a Q&A with my wife, Trina, so you get to know her a little bit better. But that video is on the screen. Ladder Day 2, when it is live, will be on the screen as well. You guys have a wonderful Saturday. I'll see you guys back into some more NFL videos later on today. Have a great one. See you in the next one. Peace.